Imagine life, right? Not as this straight, linear path we often think about, but more like a dynamic game.
Yeah.
With strategy, unexpected twists, challenges.
And crucially, the chance to win, but also to learn and really grow.
Exactly. Today on The Deep Dive, we're diving headfirst into that very idea, adopting a kind of game mindset for your life.
Yeah, and we've got some really fascinating material here. It draws these direct, quite powerful parallels between navigating life and playing strategic games.
Like, what kind of games are we talking?
Well, everything from the tactical depth of chess to the fast-paced strategy you see in games like FC25.
Okay, FC25, that's the big football simulation game, for anyone not familiar.
Right. And our source material, it's this unique guide. It's specifically designed to show how things like intentionality, consistency, emotional intelligence.
Things that are absolutely vital in those games.
Precisely, how they can be perfectly applied to the wonderful complexity that is your own life journey.
So our mission today...
Our mission is basically to pull out the most potent nuggets of wisdom from this perspective, give you a real shortcut to understanding how to approach, pretty much every decision, every challenge, every opportunity.
With what the source calls a victorious mindset. I like that.
It's a great phrase, and hopefully you'll have some genuine aha moments, because this really can reframe how you see things.
Good. Let's dig in. This foundational idea. Life is the ultimate game, like FC25 or chess. It's this dynamic interplay of strategy, adaptation, resilience. It's not just stuff happening to you, you're an active player. What's so compelling about that core analogy?
Well, I think what's fascinating is how it shifts your whole perspective. You go from being maybe a passive observer to an active participant.
Right.
Our source really emphasizes that every decision you make, every single move, every challenge you face, it directly shapes the outcome. It's not random.
So taking ownership.
Exactly. And the overarching goal it points towards is navigating all these complexities with intentionality, consistent effort, and a high degree of emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
It really pushes you to see life as something you actively, strategically engage with, not just react to.
Okay, speaking of engagement, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The emotional side. The source calls it the emotional battlefield.
Yeah.
It talks about how emotions can just so easily cloud your judgment, especially when the stakes are high. And it uses this super relatable example from FC25. I think even if you don't play, you'll get this.
Oh, absolutely. The example is you're leading 3-0 in FC25. You feel totally in control, cruising.
Feeling good.
Feeling great. And then, somehow, shockingly, you end up losing 3-4.
Ouch. We've all felt something like that. Maybe not in a game, but in life.
For sure. And this isn't just about the game itself. It illustrates what the source calls the danger of complacency. When you're comfortable, when you feel like you've got that strong lead, that very comfort can actually sort of dull your perception. It can blind you to subtle shifts in the dynamics or potential threats that are emerging.
Like a business that gets too comfortable at the top.
Exactly like that. Businesses become market leaders, feel invincible, and then suddenly get disrupted by agile startups they didn't even see coming. They were too comfortable.
That's a powerful parallel. So it's not just about relaxing. It's like the comfort itself reduces your ability to spot threats. And that's where emotional resilience comes in, right? Being able to manage those feelings, stay focused, stay composed, even when things get intense.
Yes, absolutely. It's about maintaining this constant state of awareness, really. Staying alert to how things are changing, whether you're in a game or navigating your career or relationships.
Our source really hammers this point home. Comfort reduces one's ability to perceive a potential threat. Stay vigilant, even when you're ahead.
It's such a crucial insight, isn't it? Because it goes against that natural human urge to just relax once you feel you've succeeded.
Yeah, you want to take your foot off the gas.
You do. So for you listening, maybe think about a time you were caught off guard after things were going really well. How could this insight, this idea of vigilance, help you next time you feel a bit too comfortable? It's not just about avoiding losses. It's about optimizing for continuous growth.
That's a great question to sit with. And thinking about growth, the source then contrasts two really distinct ways of achieving goals: intensity versus consistency.
Right.
And again, it uses another vivid FC25 scenario.
This time, it's that frantic situation. You're panicking, time's running out, and you're just desperately trying to dribble past like 3 opponents at once.
Yeah, the Hail Mary play.
Exactly. That impulsive, aggressive approach, driven by pressure and urgency, that's what the source defines as intensity. It's that desperate burst of energy when you feel time slipping away, often reactive, often short-sighted.
Right. And then consistency, on the other hand, that's the disciplined, steady approach, focused on the long game, long-term success. It's not about the frantic last-minute push, but the sustained, deliberate work that, compounds over time.
And the source really stresses the critical role of adaptability here, too.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, it's the ability to evolve and adjust your strategy without losing your cool, without panicking, even when the clock is ticking down, being flexible without freaking out.
So intensity might feel productive in the moment.
Yeah, it might win you a moment, a single play. But the central message here is crystal clear. Intensity may win you a moment, but consistency wins you the game.
That really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where in your life are you maybe defaulting to those bursts of intensity when actually a steadier, more consistent approach would serve you better in the long run? I have to admit, my gym routine sometimes feels more like intensity before a vacation than real consistency. This insight definitely hits home.
I think many can relate to that.
But it does make me wonder, is there ever a time for intensity? Or is consistency always the answer?
That's a fair question. And the source seems to imply that, yes, intensity can be useful, maybe for tackling a sudden short-term obstacle or for a specific immediate push.
Like a final exam sprint or a crucial project deadline?
Exactly. Those moments exist. But the key is it's not sustainable as your main strategy, not for long-term growth or well-being. It just burns up resources.
Right, it depletes you.
It does. Consistency, though, that builds a durable foundation. It lets you sustain progress and adapt without burning out. It's all about those steady, incremental gains that add up to something really significant over time.
Okay, building on that idea of a solid foundation, let's talk about the build from the back strategy. This uses another FC25 analogy. Just like every pass in the game should, ideally, strategically, lead towards a bigger goal.
Yeah, building the carefully.
Right. Life requires that same kind of solid foundation building. And this isn't just about, accumulating stuff, is it?
No, not at all. The source talks about what it calls the advantage of youth. Using those early stages of life, not just for, having fun or basic learning, but deliberately building strength, skills, resources, preparing.
So being strategic early on.
Very strategic. It frames strategic planning as viewing every single decision, even the ones that seem small at the time, as a step toward a larger, overarching goal.
And the flip side.
The flip side is what it calls the cost of delay, the very real, often compounding consequences of waiting too long to start building that foundation.
It's like technical debt in software, you mentioned that. It just gets harder and more expensive to fix later.
Precisely. You pay for it down the line, often with interest.
This is powerful. The source directly tells us, don't wait until the second half to start building your life. Start now and build from the back. It's a real call to proactive preparation.
It is.
So for you listening, what foundations are you laying right now? Or maybe, what do you need to start building now? Could be finances, skills, health, relationships.
It really prompts that kind of long-term thinking, that proactive mindset. And speaking of choices and outcomes, losses are inevitable. We all know that. In games, in life.
You can't get them all.
You can't. But the source acknowledges this head on and then challenges us to radically shift how we view those losses.
Okay, how so? Not just accepting them.
Not just accepting, but reframing them. Seeing losses not as failures, not as endpoints, but as genuinely invaluable opportunities for growth and improvement.
Okay, learning from defeat.
Exactly. Viewing setbacks as critical feedback, not some final judgment on you or your abilities. And then there's resilience.
Bouncing back.
The profound power of bouncing back stronger, more informed after you've been knocked down. It's refusing to let a momentary defeat define your whole game.
So it all ties into continuous improvement, right? Using every experience, good or bad, to refine your strategy going forward.
Yes. And this isn't just about thinking about it. It's about actively extracting the lessons. Like after a setback, actually doing a kind of post-mortem, what went wrong here? What assumptions did I make that were off? What could I do differently next time?
Taking it seriously as data.
That's crucial data. The quote here captures this perfectly. Never take losses personally. View them as opportunities to improve and come back stronger.
That changes everything. If you can apply that mindset to a recent challenge you faced, looking at it not as a failure, but as feedback. It's a real game changer. It transforms obstacles into the stepping stones.
Absolutely.
Now, let's shift gears a bit. From the football pitch to the chessboard, our source makes another compelling case here. Life, like chess, is a game of strategy, foresight, and adaptability.
The parallels are really striking when you think about it. It highlights the importance of preparation and strategy, not just planning your next immediate move, but anticipating several moves ahead.
Thinking ahead, not just reacting.
Exactly. And then there's studying your opponent. In life, that translates to really understanding the nature of the challenges you face.
What does that mean, studying your opponent in life?
Well, it could be understanding market forces if you're in business, or understanding your own personal habits or triggers if you're trying to change something, or understanding external circumstances you have to navigate.
Yeah.
Knowing what you're up against.
Got it. Deeper understanding.
Right. And finally, the absolute necessity of adjusting your strategy, being flexible, being willing to change your approach based on new information as the game unfolds, rather than just rigidly sticking to your original plan no matter what.
That rigidity can be fatal in chess, and in life too, I suppose.
Definitely.
The source really nails it with this quote: "Life, like chess, requires you to think several moves ahead. Study your opponent, adapt your strategy, and stay one step ahead." It's about that proactive agility. So, for you listening, what are the pieces on your life's chessboard right now? Your resources, your relationships, your challenges. And how can you start thinking a few moves ahead in your current situation? Anticipating potential pitfalls, but also seeing upcoming opportunities.
That kind of foresight, it can be truly transformative. It's like building a mental map of possible futures.
Okay, building on that, our source then expands the football analogy again, dividing life into two distinct halves, like a match.
Yeah, each half having a different strategic focus.
Right, so the first half, which it equates with youth, is presented as this crucial time for learning, preparation, and really building a strong lead.
Laying the groundwork.
Exactly. Honing your skills, developing your strategies, essentially building your team and your infrastructure for the rest of the game.
And then comes the second half, adulthood. This is positioned as the time for executing your strategy with confidence, with ease, because you did the work earlier.
This is where the preparation pays off.
It pays off, and the source introduces this brilliant concept here, tiki-taka living.
Tiki-taka living.
Like the football style.
Exactly like the football style. That effortless, fluid, almost beautiful flow of life that comes from having built such a solid foundation in that first half.
How did that translate to life?
It's like how a perfectly coordinated football team moves the ball, almost without thinking, each player anticipating the next move.
Yeah.
In life, it means your foundations, your finances, your skills, your relationships, your health are so solid, and your decisions so aligned with your goals that you move through challenges with this remarkable ease and fluidity.
It looks simple from the outside.
It looks simple precisely because the groundwork, the preparation, was so thorough. It's effortless because of the effort put in earlier.
Wow, what a fantastic image. The first half is for building your lead. The second half is for tiki-taka, living effortless and victorious. It really makes me reflect. Are you currently in that building phase or more in the executing phase? And how does knowing that shape your priorities, your next steps? It's such a practical lens for life stages. A truly practical way to look at it. And, like any game, there is an end. There's a final whistle.
Right.
Our source addresses the concept of death as exactly that, the end of the game of life.
But it frames it not with fear, necessarily, but with purpose.
Absolutely. It emphasizes living with purpose, making every moment count precisely because the clock is ticking. It has urgency, but in a positive way.
And then there's the idea of a legacy.
Yes, the lasting impact you leave behind after the whistle blows. It forces you to think beyond just your own game, your own score. What mark do you want to leave?
That's a big question.
It is, and it takes it even a step further, discussing how your actions, your strategy, your resilience, your choices during your game, how they influence the next generation of players.
So your game becomes a lesson for others.
It becomes part of the playbook for those who come after you. The quote here is really poignant. Death is the final whistle. Make sure you leave the game as a victor, not just in score, but in legacy.
It really shifts that definition of victory, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From just acquisition or personal success to meaningful contribution.
Completely.
So the question for everyone listening becomes, what kind of victorious legacy do you actually want to build in your own life? That's something to carry forward day by day. And finally, wrapping this up, our source frames life not just as one single game with one end, but almost as a continuous playground.
Yeah, I like that image too.
Where every challenge isn't a disaster, but an opportunity to learn something new, to grow.
It encourages facing challenges head-on, embracing difficulties as chances to evolve rather than stuff you just have to endure or avoid.
Like a kid figuring out a new piece of playground equipment.
Exactly. Seeing it as a puzzle to solve, something to master, it reinforces that power of adaptation. We talked about adjusting your approach, trying different things to overcome obstacles.
And I love this idea of the never-ending game. Life is just a series of games, one after another, each one offering new lessons, new chances to refine how you play.
It makes it less daunting, somehow. It's an ongoing adventure, a continuous journey of improvement, not just one high-stakes match.
The source leaves us with this really powerful thought. Life is a playground. Every challenge is an opportunity to improve, adapt, and evolve.
So maybe the next time you face a challenge, instead of seeing it as just a hurdle or a burden, how can you approach it differently? Like it's a new game on the playground ready for you to figure out, learn from, and maybe even enjoy the process of mastering it.
What an incredible deep dive this has been. Seriously fascinating. We've explored how looking at life through this strategic lens of games, like FC25 and chess, it just reveals these profound lessons.
On intentionality, consistency, emotional resilience, the power of adaptation.
Yeah, how every decision, every challenge, every win, every loss actually holds a strategic lesson. A lesson you can apply to build a more purposeful, maybe more successful life.
So this deep dive, it really is a call to action for you listening, a call to embrace life as the ultimate game.
Play with purpose.
Approach every moment with strategy, even the small ones.
And learn deeply from every single experience.
Exactly.
Because as our source keeps reminding us, that final whistle, it will come eventually. The real question is, are you ready for it? And maybe even more importantly, what kind of game are you playing right now?